Hey everyone, we're already at work out here in the shop making elderberry syrup kits, but I wanted to get today's notes in from Barbara. So headquarters of the body, that mind. She started talking about when she was a young mother, her daughter Emma had whooping cough. And I don't remember all of the details, I just have the part about the whooping cough here. And that's when she started to look at Western medicine differently. Her child had whooping cough. She did get Emma over that, and then I think it was an earache. And this poor child, I think she was 2 years old, had like 6 rounds of antibiotics. And Barbara always says the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. So she knew there was something else to be doing for her daughter. So she walked down to the older woman who lived down the road, and she said, "Do you have any advice? My daughter has these earaches." And this is what the woman told her. She needs to do an onion poultice on her daughter's ear. She said, you steam an onion for an earache versus 6 weeks of antibiotics. I have a note here. So you'd steam the onion. Of course, it's going to be cooled by the time you put it on the baby's ear. And she said she would hold Emma, put the onion on her ear, the warm onion. And she said, onion you can put right against the skin. Garlic, you're not supposed to put on the skin because it can irritate the skin, but the onion is okay. So she said soon her daughter would fall asleep. And she actually laid her daughter down on the bed with the onion between the sheets of the mattress and her daughter. And she said her daughter slept. It was like a miracle. So that's when she started getting curious about natural healing. So that was kind of neat to hear that story. She says, there's a book here in my notes, Stop Autism Now by Dr. Fife, F-I-F-E. And again, this is just a random note. Barbara throws this stuff out. She says, enemas take the pressure off the whole system. I remember when a friend of mine, Brandy, the Wooden Gypsy on TikTok, she was having what she thought was an appendix episode. She remembered what Barbara said about the enemas, and she did the enemas, and she actually got relief for that. So just a little seed to plant, something that can help us regain health in the body and relieve some pressure in the body using enemas. And we're still talking about the mind, but I have a note here. Charcoal, psyllium powder, or chia seed used for a poultice. I'm trying to remember what that was for. I think it was for some kind of skin thing. I can't recall that. But then over here, she says there's nothing like charcoal. It absorbs and neutralizes poisons. And there's a big note at the top here, God never condemns. We have cayenne pepper for cuts. In 1992, Barbara started her health meeting. So she's been doing this for a long time. Barbara did tell a really amazing story about how she kind of got started on this path of teaching and helping to heal people. She said that sustained me. She used those health principles with her very first client, and they had started this retreat, something about the person that the naturopath double booked or something like that. And so Barbara's husband, Michael, said, why don't you do that, Barbara? You can do that. And Barbara's like, So she went in and she found her courage, and she just went over those sustain me principles with that client. And that's kind of how it started for her. I have a note here. In 2021, she went worldwide. And aren't we glad she did? Again, we're on the mind, but this isn't really mind related. She says organic panty liners for castor oil packs are fantastic to use. Health is a journey, always evolving. That's true, friends. Your mind is your headquarters. It's the capital city. According to Barbara, we can treat mental illness with diet. I have a note here, healing the mind. Knowledge is easy to those who understand. So that's why she goes around doing these health talks, these lectures. She wants people to understand how our body works. And if given the right condition, our body can heal itself from anything. And that is coming from her. Anything. Our brain needs omega-3 fats. She's talking about the prefrontal cortex. And that's where our intellect, reasoning, and judgment, and the will, which is the decision and choice-making departments of the brain. Our choices determine our destiny. She says, and she said this very strongly, our will as a whole, as the human race, has been greatly compromised. Be swift to hear, slow to speak. I have a note down here. I'm going to ask, actually, I'll ask Emma if this is the way I'm reading it. It says, a book being written on willpower. I think it's being written by Barbara. And she says there's another book called The Sugar Blues. So sugar can affect our mental state. And back to the willpower, she says we can strengthen or weaken our will. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for today. I've got a couple more pages here to share with you all. Chat later.